Setting it up and getting ready to go. Guys, problem, I take a look. I'm going to try a number from here. I might try 4. Why? 4 is roughly in the middle. Hopefully it's either an upper limit or it's an actual answer. Those are my choices, right? That's what I really want. 1 gives me 4, gives me 4. 4 gives me 16, which gives me 3. 12. 48 plus 36 is 70, 84. Now, it doesn't matter what that number is. What matters is it's positive, so therefore we have a what? Upper limit. So I can get rid of 9, 18, 36, 12. All those are gone. I don't need to look at those at all. So now I'm going to check another number that's more in the middle of the ones that remain. Try a 2. 1, 2 gives me 2. 4 gives me negative 9, gives me negative 18, gives me, I got one, check. So one of the rational roots is x equals 2. Now at this point, I very suspiciously, I'd probably even bother to write negative 2 down here. Because I know I'm going to guess it in a little bit. But I still need to find another positive one for certain, right? So how do I find another positive one? I might try 1. 1, 1, 1 gives me 1. 1, 1, 1 gives me negative 12. Negative 12 gives me negative 12. Negative 12 gives me 24. That's a no. I might try a 3. I haven't tried 3 yet, right? It's the last one left, by the way. If it's not 3, then I'm in deep trouble. Right? Has to be 3. 1, 3 gives me 3, gives me 9, gives me negative 4, gives me negative 12, gives me negative 36, which is 0. There's my other one. So what number am I going to guess in the negative land?
Negative 2.
Probably negative 2 and negative 3. I'm going to try negative 3 first because it might be a lower limit and help me out, even if it isn't a factor. So 1, negative 3 gives me negative 3, gives me negative 9, gives me positive 9, which is negative 4, gives me 12, which gives me 12, gives me negative 36, gives me 0, there's 1. Feeling really good about my negative 2 guess now too, right? We'll try it out. Put a 1, negative 2 gives me negative 2, gives me 4, gives me negative 9, gives me 18, which gives me negative 36, gives me 0. There's my last one, and I have found all of my rational roots, right? That's how we find rational roots. Now, if you have a calculator at your desk where this is going on, you can shorten some of this guessing by saying, what does it look like? Oh, it looks like about negative 2, negative 3, positive 3. Okay, let's try those 4 points. Fair enough? All right, try the next one. And I want you to note something. It says nothing about estimating. So if you write 1.4, I'm going to laugh and point and say no. I'm sorry. You technically know how to do this problem, but with the usual, I've got 3 solutions. I've got 1 positive and 2 negatives. Why? Because given one sign change. That's going to happen. So then I take a look. Rational zeros are going to be 3 and 1, right? Plus or minus 3 and plus or minus 1. The ones I need to check for rational. But I didn't limit myself to just rational, right? So I'm going to have to watch out for that. I got 1, 1, negative 3, negative 3. So I'm going to start off by saying, well, reasonable guess would be 3, right? Because 3 was my rational root. So I try that out. I put a 1, I got a 3, I get a 4, I get a 12, I get a 9, I got a 27, I got a 24. Okay, well, that's an upper limit, right? No need to go above that line because I'm happy. So then I might logically try 1. 1, 1, 1 gives me 2. 2 gives me negative 1. Negative 1 gives me negative 4. Why does that feel wrong? Hold on. 1, 1, 2. 2 gives me negative 1. Negative 1 gives me negative 4. Is that right? So I know there's one in between these two. Look, there's one in between these two. But what kind of root is it? It's going to be irrational because it's not on my list. That's a lot annoying. Agreed? So now I'm going to start to sweat this thing out a little bit. I'm going to go, well, yeah. So I'm going to have to go negative 1. Put a 1 down here, get negative 1. It gives me 0. 0 gives me negative 3. 3 gives me, there's 1. Found 1. Now, I've already noticed there's one irrational one. Agreed? It's real, because between those two numbers, but it's irrational. which means, how am I going to find out what it is? Calculator will give it to you to 6 or 7 digits. What this thread is going to do with that? Mark it wrong, and all the way wrong, because he's a jerk. So what are we going to do? Yes, sir.
Guess numbers.
How are you going to guess irrational numbers? There we go. 7 plus or minus root 13.
Yes.
That's not going to do it. You're going to take too long to do it. Yes, sir.
I'm going to write out the equation with the x plus 1 taken out the factor out.
Aha.
Write x squared minus
What
3.
most of you have forgotten is that what we're doing here is synthetic division, right? If that's the case, then this is the other factor, isn't it? Isn't this, we took this, divided by x plus 1, and got x squared plus 0x minus 3. Remember that? It's the very beginning of this chapter, we were talking about that. And because of that, see the 1, x squared plus 0x minus 3, right? And then since that's the case, what are my roots? Well, this one's -1. We know that because that's what we've been calling the roots all along. What about this? X squared minus 3 equals 0, right? That's how I find the roots. So then I add 3 to both sides. I get x squared equals 3. Square root both sides. I get x equals plus or minus the square root of 3. There's my other 2 right there.
So when would you know how to do that? When it's
If I said solve, but I don't give you an estimation limit, you're going to have to figure out a way to get to the quadratic equation so you can solve it.
so when you just say and find the error,
Find all real zeros. Yep.
and you
Unless you can prove they're imaginary, which in this case you can prove they are real, so now you're stuck finding it. Okay? And so you're going to factor out what you can, and then what's left over, hopefully it'll be a quadratic equation you can solve. Yeah? Let's practice that. Flip this over, try the next problem. Yes, sir?
What if your answers were 1.7?
That's wrong. I want root 3. I want exactly right. I didn't ask you to round it. Now, if I asked you to round it, that'd be great.
So what if 1.732050808?
You're closer, but you're still wrong. What's the right answer? No. Square root of 3 is the right answer, and negative square root of 3. That's the right answer.
Yeah.